Welcome back to the College Basketball Bracket Science Podcast. I'm Brandon Jadich. I'm extremely excited to be with you today. It is late Wednesday night. By the time you hear this, it will be the first round day. It will be Thursday. Thursday morning, this will be released. And that means brackets are going to start to be busted. Madness is upon us. It's exciting. Hopefully everyone's as pumped as I am. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. Games going all day. Get that March Madness Live app. Do what you can. Watch it on YouTube TV. Whatever you can do to watch these games, I encourage you to. If you're in school, pull it up on your phone. You're a teacher, pull it up on the smartboard. If you're in work, pull it up on your computer. It's going to be an exciting, exciting day. Now, we got a fun episode for you today. We're just going to talk about we're going to go through every single game, the 32 games. We're going to talk about some of the betting lines that are out there, some of the money lines, how much teams are favored by. So seeing what some value money line bets are going to be. And then we're going to talk about some of the stats to know for March Madness. So we're going to get into some of the numbers, some of the KenPom numbers. I know I've been seeing trends everywhere of, hey, the week 6 AP poll, everyone in the top 12 is won. Yes, this is true. Yes, you can follow that if you want, but we're going to dive into some of the more statistics and some of the actual numbers in terms of efficiency, some just recent trends as well. So exciting stuff. Hopefully everyone's as excited as I am. It's going to feel like Christmas morning tomorrow. Fun stuff going on. Before we dive right into it, if you wouldn't mind going down, smashing the subscribe button, follow us on audio. We would really appreciate it. We're continuing. This has been growing like crazy. I know it's March Madness. Everyone's catching up. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. People are interacting more and more. Followers keep coming in on Instagram. It's great. It means a lot. Having a lot of fun with it. We're going to dive right into the episode right now. The first trend we want to talk about is that every March Madness champion since 2002 has been top 57 in offensive efficiency and top 37 in defensive efficiency going into the tournament. So there are 18 teams that fit this criteria. I know it doesn't cut it down as much as you think, but there's some notable teams that are left off this list. So every champion has been good on both sides of the ball. This is posted on our Instagram. I'm pulling up the graphic for those on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Here is the graphic right here. Now, Iowa State recently took over Houston as the number one defensive team in the nation. These numbers are they're via KenPom, by the way. So if you don't know what KenPom is, it ranks teams on offensive efficiency. Defensive efficiency does everything great, includes luck, includes strength schedule. It does everything. It's what teams use. Players, coaches, scouts, everyone uses them. For those who don't know, Iowa State was actually like in the 70s and 60s most of the year in terms of offensive efficiency. They've recently jumped up into the conversation. They're now top 57. So if you're going off the trend the last 22 years, you got to be inside these two numbers. And Iowa State is officially in there now. 55 in offense, first in defense. Houston dropped to number 2 in defense. No harm there. Iowa State and Houston, great defenses. Houston is 17th in offense, though. They've got a great offense with Jamal Shed, LJ Cryer, Juwan Roberts. They've got some talent over there. Now, if you'll notice, these are just ranked in order of defensive because, defense wins championships. Thought I'd just throw it in that order. But there's a lot of teams. You can see some title contenders here. We're just going to go through them, keep going. Tennessee, 29th in offensive efficiency, 3rd in defensive efficiency. They fit that criteria. Another special number is being inside the top 25 in both, so keep that in mind. You can still win it if you're outside of it, but that's really what you want, inside top 25 of both. Auburn fits this criteria. In fact, Auburn fits the criteria in the top 10 of both. They're 10th in offensive efficiency, 4th in defensive efficiency. North Carolina is 24th in offensive efficiency, 6th in defensive efficiency. So we've got 2 of the 1 seeds already crossed off the list. And then we do have Michigan State, believe it or not. Michigan State, 57th, barely making the cut in offensive efficiency, 8th in defensive efficiency. This number surprised me. I did not realize how great Michigan State was on the defensive end. Kind of just a trend watching some of these teams. Obviously, we had to watch Virginia last night, which was just a pathetic performance. Their games are ugly, but they are good on the defensive end. That's how Michigan State is. Their games are ugly, but they've been good on the defensive end. 8th in defense. Number 1 in offensive efficiency is the UConn Huskies. No surprise there. They are just incredible. We're going to talk about one of their stats here in a little bit. So stick with us. They are 11th in defense efficiency as well. Dan Hurley, incredible job there. Arizona, the 2 seed in the West, they are 8th in offensive efficiency, 12th in defensive efficiency. So they are inside the top 12 in both. And bear in mind, the Final Four is played in Phoenix this year. A little bit of a home court advantage there. So if you're looking for a non-1 seed, Arizona, 8 and 12, pretty good there. St. Mary's also fits in the category, 45th in offensive efficiency, 16th in defensive efficiency. Marquette, 21 in offensive efficiency, 19 in defensive efficiency. Now, this does not include Tyler Kolek not being not playing. Obviously, these stats are with Tyler Kolek, so that's something to keep in mind. Yes, Purdue is in here. We're finally getting to them. They're 21st in defense efficiency, so that's why we haven't said them yet, but they are 4th in offensive. They got the firepower on offense this year with Braden Smith and Lance Jones taking big steps. New Mexico fits this criteria, 41st in offense, 23rd in defense. Good stuff for the Lobos. Creighton, 12th in offense, 24th in defense, both inside that top 25 margin, I'm not quite sure what the exact number is of being inside the top 25 in both offense and defense. I know there's someone's thrown off the trend. I know UConn back in 2014, that Shabazz Napier team kind of threw off some of the trends because they were a little bit higher. Obviously they were a 7 seed and end up winning. So you want to be top 25. I'll just say that. Duke is 7th in offense, 26th in defense. Now, a couple surprising ones that I included, the bottom 4, probably not national title contenders, so maybe you can cut it to those top 14 teams. But Boise State, Nebraska, TCU, and Nevada all fit this category as well. So if you're looking for little sleeper teams to maybe make a run, Boise State, Nebraska, TCU, Nevada, they're all hovering in the 30 to 50 range for both of these numbers. Enough about that. We want to talk about some of the teams that you will notice we didn't mention, some teams that you might be taking to make runs, to win national championships. If the trend continues, it's not going to happen. First off, Kentucky, they're the most notable team. They are 5th in offense, 108th in defense. Now, when we talked about these numbers a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that Kentucky, it was surprising that they were 9th when we last did it. Now they're 5th. So they're climbing up. They're still the 5th best offense efficient-wise in the nation. Definitely thought they would have been top 3, probably just behind Alabama and UConn, quite frankly, but they're 5th. So they are only behind Purdue and who's the other one we're missing there? Purdue, and we're missing one more. I can't remember who 3rd in offensive efficiency is, but it's Illinois. We'll talk about them here in a second. Kansas also left off the list. They qualified defensively. They're 10th defensively, 65th offensively, obviously, with Kevin McCullough now being out for the tournament. Not looking like Kansas's year, so tough for Bill Self, but wouldn't recommend taking them to win probably even more than one game. Baylor, 6th in offense, 64 in defense. Been seeing a lot of people liking Baylor to make a little bit of a run. Defense has gotten better. They were near like 95 last time we talked. Now they're up to 64. So if you're thinking of Baylor, they're climbing in the right direction. Maybe make a Final Four. Wouldn't recommend taking them to win a national title or anything. But Gonzaga, 9th in offense, 46th in defense. Not quite there. Next two are surprising to me. Well, Alabama's not surprising. They're 2nd in offense, 112th in defense. They've fallen off as of late. A lot of people not taking them. A lot of people even taking Charleston to take down Alabama. Next one is surprising. Illinois, 3rd in offense, 93rd in defense. Yes, 93rd. They are 56 spots off. That math is right. 56 spots off from being on this list of the teams since 2002 who have all won the national title. Not quite there. Big Ten champ, not quite all the way there. Texas Tech barely misses the criteria, 23 in offense, 45 in defense. Wisconsin, 13 in offense, 47 in defense. And then just rattling through some of them quickly, some SEC schools. South Carolina, Florida, both just on the outside. South Carolina hovering around the 50 mark for both teams. Florida's offense, 14, defense, 83. Yikes, they got some offensive firepower. And then the complete opposite for San Diego State. We know they have a great defense every year, just like last year. 9th in defense, 62 in offense. Then BYU, 11 in offense, 48 in defense. So cut out some of these teams if you're thinking of taking. I know I've gotten the joke so many times. Yes, these numbers are a trend, but none of them have had Rob Dillingham on their team. I partially agree with that. Rob Dillingham is spectacular along with Reed Shepherd. But Kentucky, they're 108th in defense, going to have to figure something out there. Moving on to some of the other trends we want to talk about, just some quick facts, real quick. So we're going to start. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Justin Simone from my Instagram, he commented it under one of the Instagram posts. It was a great fact, had to include it in here. UConn has the third highest offensive efficiency in the last 22 years. Matches up perfectly with our 57 and 37 stat. Last 22 years. The other two teams ahead of them, Villanova in 2018, they won that national championship. And then the other one was Wisconsin in 2015, who famously beat that was Frank Kaminsky's team, who famously beat that undefeated Kentucky team. Ended up losing in the national title game to Duke, but their defense was not near as good as UConn's defense this year. So if you're thinking of taking UConn to go back to back, the odds seem to be in your favor based on this stat. Shout out to Justin Simone, that was a great one. Speaking of UConn, we wanted to label just down another one. UConn last year was a top 5 team in KenPom going into March Madness. They were labeled as a 4 seed. Remember that? Auburn this year is a 4 seed and is top 5 in KenPom. Something to keep in mind. It sucks that UConn has to match up with Auburn in the Sweet 16 most likely. But if you're thinking of taking Auburn, top 5 in KenPom, just like UConn was last year, no one going to blame you. That might be a good pick. Now, one more credit where credit's due. Credit to Ryan Huff, also commented on Instagram. He mentioned that there has not been an Elite 8 1 versus 2 seed since 2017. This stat blew my mind. I hadn't heard this. I had to look it up. I went back all the way to 2017. It's true. Not in the East, West, Midwest, or South has there been a 1 versus 2 seed playing each other to go to the Elite 8. That doesn't seem like it is right, but it is true. Go look it up if you don't trust me. Shout out Ryan Huff. That one kind of blew my mind there a little bit. All right, that's it for some of our fun facts. Hopefully those just kind of helped you out a little bit. Maybe, I mean, obviously everything here is it's all luck based, but there's some stats to back it up. So next we're going to get into we're going to do the betting lines for every single game in March Madness. Before I do that, before we dive into those lines and some of the money lines, I want to first give a quick shout out to Fanatics. It's time to gear up for some of your favorite teams on March Madness. Fanatics has all the gear that you need, along with all the memorabilia. They run specials all the way through March. It is the go-to place for some of the best jerseys, some of the best hoodies, just some of the best t-shirts if that's what you're looking for, or if you're looking for memorabilia. As we noticed, they're number 1 in the nation to buy your stuff. They're quick. They're always running deals. They'll deliver it within a couple weeks. It's always efficient, great customer service. Really recommend checking out Fanatics. We have a link in our description. Go down there, go click the link, check out some of the deals that they're running right now. They're always running new stuff. They do an incredible job over there. Great service once again. Check out the link in the description. Click that, see what deals they're running. Buy your March Madness merchandise. You will not regret it. All right, let's get into some of the betting lines. Let's start. We're going to pull up the graphics here for those on YouTube. Not the best put together graphic, just kind of threw some numbers next to what they are. These odds are via Fanatics Sportsbook, just as we mentioned, one of our sponsors. So these are, we're just going to go through the spread on the games and then some of the money lines and then whether I like the line, whether or not. Starting UConn minus 26.5 over Stetson plus 3,000 on the money line. Don't bet Stetson. I probably wouldn't even bet this game. 26.5 points in March Madness. That is a ton of points. UConn is going to come out fired up. Dan Hurley is going to have them ready. But I mean, UConn could be up by 40 and then just put in the garbage players and Stetson makes a run. 26.5. Wouldn't recommend betting that game. Moving on, FAU as the 8 seed and Northwestern as the 9 seed. FAU is currently favored by 2.5. Northwestern is plus 130 on the money line. This is a 50-50 game. I truly believe it. Northwestern is banged up. FAU has experience. I think FAU minus 2.5 is kind of the way to go, but if you don't bet FAU minus 2.5, don't take Northwestern plus 2.5. Take Northwestern with the money line. Plus 130, Boo Booey might do damage. He might just torch this poor FAU defense. So keep that in mind. San Diego State minus 6.5 over UAB, who is plus 220 on the money line. I saw this as the most picked upset. Betting wise, everyone seems to be taking UAB. I wouldn't recommend taking a money line. If I were to bet this game and bet UAB side, I'd take them plus 6.5. But I think San Diego State's just got the experience. I like San Diego State to win the game. I'm not sure that they can cover 6.5. That's kind of an iffy line, but I wouldn't recommend betting UAB plus 220. Come back and call me out on it when they win, because you know that's what's going to happen. Auburn is minus 12.5 over Yale. Yale is plus 600 on the money line. 12.5 is a lot of points. These lines in this first quadrant you're going to see, they're high because they're so top heavy, because the committee decided to put the 4 power conferences this year, all the conference tournament champions, all in the East. So you'll see some of these lines are inflated, and that makes it tough to bet. Auburn minus 12.5, Yale plus 600. I definitely think Auburn wins the game. People have been saying, can Yale give them troubles? No, I don't think they can. If I had to bet one way, I'd probably go Auburn minus the 12.5 in this one. But that is a lot of points, especially for a pretty solid Yale team. And then moving down, BYU, the 6 seed, takes on Duquesne, the 11 seed. BYU is favored by 9.5 in this game. Duquesne plus 350. Duquesne should not be an 11 seed, first off. I think BYU definitely wins this game. BYU would be a 5 seed if it wasn't for their religious stuff, so they can't play in certain times. So they're 6 seed. Duquesne should be a 12 or 13 seed. 9.5 is a lot of points, though. Duquesne can really score the ball. Stay away from this game. I know I'm saying that just about all of these, but this is a tough quadrant. Now, a game I finally like. All right, bet this game. Number 3, the 3 seed in the East region, Illinois, and number 14, Morehead State. Illinois is favored by 11.5. Morehead plus 550 on the money line. A lot of people have been saying, can Morehead State pull off this upset? No, they cannot. Illinois is going to win this game, and I think they're going to win more by 11.5. I think they blow them out. I think Illinois is playing well right now. They have some offensive firepower. I think they might struggle when they play teams that are just near as talented as them. I think they might even struggle in the second round with BYU because their talent they're matched up talent wise, and Illinois doesn't play defense. But in this case, they're going to outscore Morehead State. I think they outscore them by more than 11.5 as well. I would take Illinois in that game. The 7-10 game is Washington State and Drake. Drake, the 10 seed, is favored by 1.5. Washington State is plus 105 on the money line, so you might think, I might want to take the better seed at plus 105. I wouldn't. I would take Drake to cover the 1.5. I think Drake's the better basketball team. People don't remember Drake had a big lead last year over Miami, that Miami team that ended up making the Final Four. And Tucker DeVries had a horrible game. He was like 1 of 13 or 2 of 13 shooting, something like that. And they were the 12 seed last year against Miami's 5 seed. Now it's the 10 seed with a better team, more experienced team. I think Drake gets the job done for sure. I think they beat up on Washington State. I like Washington State. I like Miles Rice and Kyle Smith over there. I just don't see it. I think Drake wins the game. Moving down, this one is going to upset some people. The 2 seed, Iowa State, takes on the 15 seed South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Iowa State's favored by 16. South Dakota State is plus 1,000 on the money line. I'm going to take South Dakota State plus 16 in this game, and I'm going to don't put a lot, but I'm going to put a little bit on South Dakota State money line. If there is a 2-15 upset, I think this is the only chance, because South Dakota State can really shoot the ball, and they actually underperformed this year. They've got some talent. We've seen Iowa State. Iowa State is great, let me say. I'm not talking down on them. We've seen Iowa State's offense be a little stagnant at points. If South Dakota State comes out hot, this could be a scary. I think it's just a horrible draw for Iowa State all across the board. If there was a 7-10 team I wouldn't want to face, it's Drake. They would have to play Drake if Drake wins. UConn is your 1 seed in your region. You have FAU as the 8 seed, and Auburn, who just won the SEC, along with BYU, can score it. This is a tough draw for Iowa State. Then you got to play South Dakota State, who is a 15 seed with probably 12 seed talent. I don't like it. I'm taking South Dakota State plus 16. We'll see if Iowa State can just shut them down from the beginning. I'm confident in South Dakota State. I'm even going to put a little bit on their money line. Plus 1,000. Yeah, why not? Moving on to the South region, Houston minus 24.5 over Longwood in the 116 game. Longwood plus 2,400 on the money line. Don't take Longwood money line. A lot of people saying this. Houston just got blown out by Iowa State, but I don't see Longwood. They're going to get out physicaled in this game by Houston. 24.5, just like that UConn game. for anyone who says, yeah, someone minus 24 is a lock, don't listen to them unless it's plus 24 for something crazy. No, I would stay away from it. I think Houston obviously wins the game, but stay away from that game. 8-9 matchup, Nebraska versus Texas A&M. This is our first pick'em game that we have. It is 50-50, both minus 110 on the money line. Nebraska, Texas A&M. This is probably the toughest game to pick, I would say, in the round of 64 this year. I'm not quite sure. I mean, both teams are just complete polar opposites. Texas A&M just they play like volleyball. They just get it and fire up threes and offensive rebound on like 40% of their possession, something stupid like that. And Nebraska, very sound team, scrappy. Tominaga, ranked mask, even Lil Hoiberg out there, Coach Hoiberg's son. They're scrappy. They're good. They're well coached. I took Nebraska. Not too confident in it. It's a PK game. Go with what your heart's feeling. I think Texas A&M has more talent. Nebraska, I think, is a more put together basketball team. That's a scary game. Moving down to the 5-12. 5 seed is Wisconsin taking on James Madison. Wisconsin is favored by 5.5. James Madison is plus 190 on the money line. This was the most picked 5-12 upset. I know I said the other one, UAB, was the most bet on. This is the most picked one in brackets. People are taking James Madison. I'm torn on this game, really torn on this game. Hated Wisconsin coming in. Wisconsin, of course, just gave me a little bit of sliver of hope in the Big Ten tournament. James Madison, plus 190. I think it's a 50-50 game, so plus 190. Yeah, I'd probably rather take that than Wisconsin, who's probably, minus 240 on the money line. It's a close game. Go with what your heart believes there. Duke, 4 seed, minus 12 over the 13 seed Vermont Catamounts, who's plus 500 on the money line. I'm hearing anyone out who's taken Vermont money line. Duke really just hasn't impressed this year. I would take Vermont to cover 12 in this game, though. I think Vermont's one of those teams where they're well coached. They're in the tournament every year. They could come out and have a great first half, maybe even get out to a quick little lead. I think they end up covering 12 in the end. I'll take them in that one. Then the 6 seed, Texas Tech, takes on the 11 seed, NC State. Texas Tech is favored by 5 in this game. NC State is plus 175 on the money line. NC State just won 5 straight in the ACC tournament. I'll be curious to see if that wore them out or if that got them just fired up to keep going. I think Texas Tech with Grant McCasland, he is a great basketball coach. He won the NIT last year with North Texas. I think he's going to have this team prepared. Texas Tech can really score the ball. It's just a matter of if they can guard DJ Burns down low. I think they can. I think Texas Tech also covers 5 in this game. I'm in on Texas Tech as of right now. The 3-14 game is Kentucky taking on Oakland. Oakland plus 700. Kentucky minus 13.5. I think Oakland covers 13.5. We talked on our last podcast. Keep a close eye on this game. Oakland can really score the ball. They're really well coached, and Kentucky does not play defense. Calipari better wind his guys up. I think Oakland is probably the best 14 seed. Keep an eye on this game. I actually sprinkled a little bit on Oakland plus 700. So if you want to tail that, I wouldn't take Kentucky to cover 13.5. I think Oakland plus 13.5. But we know how firepower this Kentucky offense can be. Quite frankly, I'm skeptical about this game. So we'll see. Now you'll see we're recording this right now before the Boise State-Colorado game. So Florida does not have an opponent right now. No odds on that yet. So we're just going to keep going. Marquette minus 14 over Western Kentucky plus 800 in the 2-15 game. Keep in mind, just pay attention. Is Tyler Kolek going to play? That's all you need to know. They said he's going to play, but it might be one of those last second. They also said Kevin McCullough was going to play. So just bear in mind, does Tyler Kolek play? Going to make all the difference in the world. Then come back to that line. We'll see how the line changes. Keep going. Purdue, same boat. They got to play the winner tonight in the first 4 games. So they don't have anything up there yet in terms of a line. Now, an interesting line. The 8 seed Utah State underdogs to the 9 seed TCU. TCU favored by 4. Utah State plus 150. Utah State won the outright Mountain West. I think TCU wins the game. Quite frankly, I took TCU. But Utah State is not a bad bet at plus 150 as the better seed. I don't hate that at all. Probably would recommend betting Utah State, if anything, just in terms of the odds. maybe even just bet TCU money line, whatever you're feeling. Like Utah State, like TCU, we'll see. Gonzaga, the 5-12 game that everyone's talking about. Gonzaga is 6.5-point favorites over McNeese. McNeese is plus 210 on the money line, plus 210 on the money line for Will Wade against a Gonzaga team that, quite frankly, did not impress me all year this year. I'm taking McNeese money line in this game for sure. I think they get the job done. Another game that is pretty much as close to a must-bet situation as I think you can have. Kansas, the 4 seed, it's not their fault. Against the 13 seed Samford, Kansas is still favored by 7 without Kevin McCullough. The thing about Samford presses you every single time down the court. They make a shot, they're pressing you. They're fast, they can score the ball, buckyball. Samford plus 240. Kansas is going to be low on depth. I mean, they're low on depth with Kevin McCullough, without Kevin McCullough, and we don't even know Dickinson's status. Oh man, I would recommend betting Samford, but Samford. The only thing I'm skeptical about on Samford is, remember that first game early in the year they got beat by like 50 to Purdue, but they've gotten better. Bucky McMillan's gotten better. Kansas has gotten worse, and it's not their fault. They've had injuries, and they still have no depth. I would take Samford plus 240. Whew, boost that up a little bit, plus 300. Whew, baby. Sounds good. South Carolina and Oregon in the 6-11 game. This is a pick'em game. Interesting. 6-11 pick'em game. With that being said, I'm taking the 11 seed, Oregon. South Carolina struggles guarding big men, and Fale Dante is healthy for Oregon, and he is an absolute beast. He's one of the best big men in the country. Oregon is rolling right now. I've been waiting for Oregon to pick it up because they have so much talent. Now that they're healthy, I'm taking Oregon in this one. I think Oregon gets the job done. That is a nightmare draw for Creighton as the 3 seed to take on Oregon if they win in the next round. Wow, that would be a fun matchup. That would be a close game. Speaking of Creighton, they're 12.5-point favorites over Akron. Akron is plus 595 on the money line. Akron won the MAC tournament, yet they are not playing good right now. Creighton minus 12.5. I like them to cover 12.5 in this game. I think they just out-talent them. They outshoot them. Akron should have lost to Kent State. Kent State was the 8 seed in the MAC tournament. Give me Creighton minus 12.5. Now, 7 seed Texas is 2.5-point favorites over the 10 seed Colorado State, who is plus 125 on the money line. Texas minus 2.5. Max Abesmith, Dylan DeSue. Colorado State just beat Virginia in that. Oh man, what a tough watch of a game. I'm going to take Texas in this game to cover 2.5. I don't think Colorado State's all the way there. Colorado State still came in 7th in the Mountain West. They've been playing better as of late. 7-10 games, always tough to pick. I'll be taking Texas to cover 2.5 in this one. And then Tennessee, 21-point favorites over St. Peter's, the Peacocks. Is there any Peacock magic at plus 1,500, minus 21? If there's any game in March Madness, minus 20-something, I wouldn't take it. I would recommend staying away from that. But if you think St. Peter's can cover 21, I can hear someone out for that. North Carolina, 24.5-point favorites. We're moving into the West, by the way. North Carolina, 24.5-point favorites over Wagner. Same thing we just talked about. Although if there's one I'm probably confident in covering 24.5, it's Wagner. I actually watched a lot of Wagner games. Why, I don't know, but I watched them coming down the stretch. They've got some pieces there. They've got some talent. They're fast. I think they can cover 24.5 over North Carolina. They got some momentum after beating Howard last night. And they've got some pieces there. I think North Carolina is obviously the worst 1 seed. Give me Wagner plus 24.5. Fun one here. 8-9 game that I also don't know how to pick. The 8-9 game's incredible. I mean, they're always tough, but this year feels even tougher than usual. Mississippi State is the 8 seed. They are underdogs to Michigan State. The 9 seed, Michigan State favored by just 1. Mississippi State's plus 100 on the money line. I would take Mississippi State plus 100. We just saw them beat up on Tennessee. What has Michigan State done this year? Michigan State hasn't beaten anybody this year. I would take Mississippi State. I'm not that confident in Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's the worst 8 seed. I think Michigan State's the worst 9 seed. I think Michigan State should have been a first 4 team, quite frankly. But the committee had a lot of interesting decisions, and Michigan State being a 9 seed was one of them. I'm going to take it on the committee, and I'm going to take Mississippi State plus the 100. Another very popular upset pick. It's always in those 5-12 games. St. Mary's is the 5 seed taking on Grand Canyon, the 12 seed. St. Mary's favored by 5.5. Grand Canyon plus 190. This is going to be an unpopular pick because I think a lot of people are going to see Grand Canyon, see their great record, take them plus 190. I was big on Grand Canyon earlier in the year. I don't think they're playing at the level that they were. I'm taking St. Mary's to cover 5.5. I'm in on St. Mary's. I also think St. Mary's beats Alabama in the second round, which we're going to talk about here, as they are 9.5-point favorites over Charleston. Charleston plus 400 on the money line. This game's going to be the first one to 100. Both teams really score the ball, and if that happens, it is without a doubt in Alabama's favor, as they just have gone out and outscored teams. I actually think Alabama covers 9.5 in this game. I just think their offense is too good. They don't sell short, but I do think St. Mary's beats Alabama in the second round. Here's the most interesting line. You saw it on the thumbnail of the video. The 6 seed Clemson is underdogs to the 11 seed New Mexico. New Mexico is favored by 2.5. Clemson plus 115. I think Clemson's the worst 6 seed. New Mexico should be a 9 seed, I would think. I can't believe that they weren't going to get in, even if they lost that. I mean, they won the Mountain West, which had 6 bids, and in our 11 seed. Duquesne was a 6 seed in the A10 tournament, won the A10 tournament, and they're an 11 seed as well. What a horrible job by the committee this year. But New Mexico minus 2.5, I'm taking them. I mean, there's a reason they're favored. They can score the ball. Clemson, I mean, they struggled in the ACC. Virginia finished higher than them in the ACC, and Virginia just made us watch that game last night. That made me want to scratch my eyeballs out. Give me New Mexico minus 2.5. Baylor in the 3-14 game. Baylor is favored by 14 over Colgate. Colgate's plus 700 on the money line. Been seeing a lot of people taking Colgate plus 700. I know Colgate is a big name. They're always in the tournament. They win the Patriot every single year. This is not, I love what Colgate does over there. This is not a talented Colgate team this year, though. This is a down year for them. Normally they're 12 or 13 seed, maybe even creeping into that 11. They're 14 this year, and I think they should have been a 15, quite frankly. They should have been a 14 seed, but their talent is more 15, 16 seed. Like, Patriot League was horrible this year. Baylor's got some offensive firepower. I think Baylor covers 14 in this game. I wouldn't recommend taking Colgate on the money line in this one. And then Dayton in Nevada in the 7-10 matchup. Nevada actually favored as the 10 seed minus 1.5. Dayton plus 100. I took Nevada in the game. I'm going to stick with it. I think Nevada's got some talent. Nevada's a 10 seed. God, what are we doing here? I think these two teams could have been flipped and it would have been better. Nevada's a 7 seed, Dayton as a 10 seed, but I'll take Nevada to end up winning this game. And then the last game we're going to talk about, Tommy Lloyd's Arizona Wildcats, 20.5-point favorites over Long Beach State, plus 1,500 on the money line. Been seeing a lot of people taking Long Beach State just because Arizona always sells in the tournament. I get it if you're doing that. Arizona can really, really score the ball. First half spread, I would recommend taking Arizona because I think they come out hot. I think Long Beach State might be able to come back and make it maybe a sub 20 point loss. So as I said, if it's in the 20s, I don't bet it. I don't think it's smart to, because at that point you're just picking all luck in it, and don't like to put some money on a risk like that. That's all the games, all the graphics you needed to see. Sorry, the money line graphics were just okay, but if you like more of this stuff, we post all of this kind of stuff on our Instagram, on our Twitter. We're even posting on TikTok. It's at Bracket Science with 2 S's. Go check that out. Comment, let us know you came from YouTube or audio. If you're on audio, go check out the YouTube. We show cool graphics. We show everything that we're talking about on the graphic. Put a lot of effort and time into that. If you're on YouTube and you're on the go one day, you can still listen through YouTube, or you can listen through Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's easier, but always recommend checking out the graphics, as if you're a visual learner, it really helps. Appreciate all you guys for being here. Everyone have a great rest of their day. It's here. March Madness is here. Click the subscribe button before you go. Have a great rest of your week. Good luck on your brackets. See you later. We'll talk to you soon.